Well, I am excited to have Coach Micheal Burt on the Courage Cast with me. Coach Burt, welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you, man.
Oh, so glad. Now you are in Murfreesboro. Where are you? You have the name of your building. What is that called? Or your offices?
Yeah, I created a place called the Greatness Factory, and the subset of that is we manufacture greatness. And the concept is that when a person makes a decision to become great in their life, most people have to go to a conference thousands of miles away, spend thousands of dollars. My vision is a local place where you can go that helps you in the body, in the mind, in the heart, and in the spirit.
I love that. I could tell right away when Leela Grace, who we had on the podcast a few weeks ago, recommended I talk to you. The way it worked actually is I said, "Who do you know that I should know?" And you were the first person that came to mind.
That's good. That's a very high compliment.
Yeah. So, Coach Burt, you are actually a coach, not just a personal development coach or a coach on excellence or personal growth, but you actually tell us a little bit about your background as a coach.
Well,
how you got into this.
I found my voice very early in life through a conversation of another mentor leader in my life that said, you need to be a coach. This is your talent, and you're good at this. So at 15 years old, I knew I was supposed to be coaching. I've really spent the last 25 years of my life, and that's all I've done. I spent the first 12 to 13 as actually a women's basketball coach, and started winning games and having success and building our own little greatness factory there and engineering people to win. And from that started writing books. The books led me into speaking all over the country. The speaking led companies to ask me to coach their people. So at 31 years old, I retired from athletic coaching to build a full-time coaching business. And so now we speak, we coach, we train, and we lead all over the country.
So the Greatness Factory. What is the difference between greatness and excellence, and is there a difference?
I think there's a difference. I think we were hardwired for greatness. I think God planned you for greatness in your mother's womb. I think that I think when I think about Jeremiah 29:11, if you ever had a person argue with you about what you were thinking, I can see that conversation going, you don't know what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. I have plans for you, plans to prosper you, plans for you to go out there and expand in the world. And I think people were made for greatness. Now, at some point in their life, that may have been discouraged in them, suppressed in them through either environmental factors, psychological, sociological factors early in their upbringing. So their confidence is low. They've got a lot of fear. They're living in scarcity, and they really don't achieve that. So I wanted a place in a local community that when a person said, look, I want greatness, that they can come and I believe we can engineer and help people find that greatness, package that greatness, and even share that greatness with the world.
Okay, now I know we only have 20 minutes or so to talk, but let's say I come to you and I say, Coach Burt, I am struggling. I know that I can do more. I know I can be more. I know I want to have more in my life, and I see other people succeeding. I'm just not. How can you help me, and what would be some things that you would help me with?
Well, I think a good coach will find and fill your missing structures. And when I look at a person, I look at everything from a whole person perspective. I look at the body, I look at the mind, I look at the heart, and I look at the spirit. That manifests itself in 4 dimensions: knowledge for the mind, skill for the body, desire for the heart, and confidence for the spirit. And so you can typically, a good coach can diagnose, this is where your missing structures are. Some people lack knowledge, some people lack skill, some people lack desire, some people lack confidence or faith to take action. And so some people need personal growth coaching. That's one reason I wrote the book, This Ain't No Practice Life, which are 7 core decisions I think every person needs to make to step into their greatness. Some people need business coaching, which is why I wrote Person of Interest or Zebras and Cheetahs. Now, the new book, Everybody Needs a Coach in Life, it's coming out in March, is a cross between a personal growth and a business book, and it's really geared to become your coach. And so when a person comes to me and says, I want more, it's typically because they have not found their talents or discovered their gifting. They don't know how to distribute their gifts to the world, right? Or they've had some level of success and potentially they're bored or they're disengaged with what they're doing, and they need some direction or coaching from another person. You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. And so a good coach can say, you've got 3 missing structures, and if we just filled these missing structures, it could be confidence, which is what it is for lots of people.
Hmm. So let's say it is confidence. Let's say confidence is that person's issue. How do you work with somebody to raise their level of confidence?
Well, confidence is the memory of success. It's an internal knowing that you can create or manifest something. And it's typically directly tied to your faith. If you're low on faith, you're low on confidence. If you're low
Mm,
on skill, you're low on confidence. If you're low on knowledge, you're. So what I do is I go back to that whole person and I say, okay, let's skill you up, because the more skill you got, the more confident you're going to become. Okay, I
hmm.
typically go to work on the body. People come to me and say, I've got a confidence problem. The very first thing I say is you need a personal trainer, because the
Mm,
better you feel about your body, the more confident you're going to be. You know, if your skills are higher, the more confident you're going to be. If your effort is there, you're going to be more confident. If you're in a strong environment that's affirming and validating your worth and potential versus an environment that's sucking the life out of you, you're going to be more confident. So I've broken confidence down to a science. It can be your greatest asset. It can be your greatest liability. You know, and I think from a biblical perspective, when you start seeing, you know, God made us to take dominion over our land, to expand, to multiply, to grow, to live in abundance versus scarcity. I begin to think, you know, we're not hardwired to live in fear, to live in scarcity. This is nothing but the devil's devices telling us we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're weak, we're a product of our past, and we have to overcome that. We come that through our faith and through in our daily interactions, and through our daily reading of the Bible, of getting in the Word and knowing what it is we're put on this earth to do.
hmm. What about that person that that struggles, that has just an overall sense of hopelessness? That they just beat themselves up about things they've done wrong in their past, and they've just got this long history of making mistakes, and all they can dwell on is all the mistakes that they've made, and that's what's keeping them down. How do you pick somebody? Like, I'm asking because I lead teams. I
Mm-hmm.
lead teams in our doTERRA business, and I encounter that very often. I see people that just struggle with that. It's either a taste of hopelessness, or sometimes it's just out and out, like a barrage of that sense of, oh, I just can't do it. I don't believe I can do it. I've always failed in the past. What makes this any different? What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, I did a podcast once called Don't Live in Isolation. When we live in isolation, we listen to the past, we live in the past, we're low on confidence. I think we need accountability in our lives, because here's the vicious cycle that we go through. We start with good intention. These folks typically start with good intention. I want to be in, I want to be engaged. But their resilience factor is so low because of the past, no affirmation, no person feeding into their life. So they start with good intention. They typically fall off the wagon for a number of variables: low confidence, no environment, no coach in their life, no accountability, living in isolation. And then they feel
Mm,
guilty about it. And this vicious cycle repeats until a person walks into their life and says, I'm not going to let you quit. You are good enough. You can do this. I do believe in you. And that's the power of a good coach in your life. I had a player once named Moshida Pettis that tried to quit on me at least, I would say, 20 times. And she would take her jersey off. She'd get real upset with me, and she would take her jersey off, and she wore a shirt underneath it, and she would throw her jersey at me, and she would walk off and said, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of this. I'm quitting. And I would say, Mo, you know I'm not going to let you quit. Other people
mm,
may have let you quit in your life. And that's the only thing that's ever happened, is when you push to a place of discomfort, you want to quit. But you've met a person that will not let you quit. You let a person that will not let you be hopeless. You've met a person that will hold you accountable to your potential. Okay? And
mm.
4 years later, we sent her to the University of Alabama at Huntsville to play on a 4-year scholarship. She then went into coaching, right? And there's not a month or 2 months that goes by that she doesn't call me and say, thank you for not letting me quit, because she had
Mm,
those feelings of hopelessness from her past, from her
yeah.
scripting. And so that's where I think teams are so critical. That's why I think you are so critical in building your team and feeding into people. And sometimes you got to have a person in your life that won't let you quit, won't let you get helpless.
Yeah. I didn't tell you this before we started recording, but we have a community that we've developed. It's about 1,000 people, called the Courageous Community. And in my eye, what you just described is exactly what I want the community to be about. I want it to be the podcast being, my voice speaking hope and courage into my team. And then all the rest of us surrounding each other, locking arms and saying, no, we are not going to give in to the way it used to be. And you've just provided a little pump up session for me about the team and about courageous community.
Well, I'm thankful that I go to a church and have a pastor who pushes very hard on us being in small groups. And
Mm,
when I've coached pastors, we've gone through the simple church model, the blessed church model, and at the end of the day, a small group is a group of people that will hold you accountable. That there's an accountability partner there every week for you to share and become vulnerable and work through things together and believe in each other. And I'm thankful because I believe that every person should be involved in a local body of believers. I don't think faith is something that was meant to be done in an isolated state. And I can tell
yeah.
you in my life, when I have felt hopeless and helpless, is always when I isolated myself from other people. That's when my worst decisions have been made. That's when I've always reverted back to old habits and new ways, is when I was in a place of isolation versus in an accountability group of people who would hold me accountable to my own potential.
Mm, that's great. I'm writing this down because what if our community broke up into smaller groups and we had regular calls together and we connected and we just held each other accountable to things that we said we were going to do? I mean, I think it could be life-changing for people.
It could be, and you go back to Weight Watchers. The original Weight Watchers concept worked because a group of ladies got together in an apartment and said, "I can't do this on my own. Will you help me hold it accountable? Let's meet and let's talk about it. And when we do fall off the wagon, let's pick each other up and look at what it did." I mean, so I'm a firm believer in and think about in the Bible the story, the power of four friends.
Yeah,
And
talk about that.
I mean, think about that story of. I mean, I can imagine Jesus there doing healings. The place is packed, you know, and they saying to this one person, "We're taking you over there to be healed," and he may say, I just can't do it. It's never going to work." And those four friends taking that person and getting there and it being packed and them saying, we're going to find a way to get you in there, and climbing up on top of the building and cutting a hole in the building and dropping the paraplegic down in there so Jesus could see that person. And notice what he said. You're healed because of what? Because of
Your
their
faith.
faith. Because of their faith.
Their faith.
That's exactly
Oh, wait,
right.
it's not your faith has healed you, but their faith.
So when you think the paralytic, when that happened, I mean, I just want you to think about that. So when I did the devotional, The Power of Four Friends, I said, I want four friends like that. Four friends that would pick me up and take me, and if they had to get me in to see Jesus, drop me down and cut a hole in the building. Now, that's the power of their faith, and you are healed because of their faith. That's the power of four good friends in your life.
Wow. Wow. I hadn't actually thought about that before. I love that. That's so good. I'm going to have to go back. Where is that in Scripture?
It's in Matthew.
Which Matthew?
Yep,
Yeah.
the
I'll
paralytic.
find it, and
Four friends and the paralytic.
yeah, I know the story, but I've got to go and reference that and look that up again because that's powerful. That is really, really powerful. Okay, so you have a lot of things that you are involved in. You tell me a little bit more about the Total Growth Academy and what you're hoping to accomplish. Kind of like if I'm meeting you for the first time, and I'm very much interested in being coached and receiving from you, what would be some of the ways that we could connect and participate?
Well, with us growing the company, I had to find a way to coach people all over the world, all over planet Earth that wanted coaching. And so there's a natural evolution for a guy that coaches like me. So imagine this. I go out every day and typically coach lots of people. Yesterday, I was in Kansas City coaching financial advisors. This morning, I was with one of the biggest mortgage companies coaching this morning. So lots of people bring me in to speak to or coach their people on a consistent, ongoing basis. But there's lots of people out there that couldn't do that. So what we've built is a high-end virtual training interactive platform called the Total Growth Academy. That allows a person to get coaching from me anywhere in the world for as cheap as $3.30 a day, $83 a month. And in our Total Growth Academy has all of the coaching that I would do live. It's just on your phone, it's on your tablet, and we have 8 doors that you open up. There's sales and business growth. There's a Christian devotional series that you can log into. There's operations. There's customer service. There's stuff for new people in sales. So there's over 400 coaching programs or coaching modules in there for a person to go in and get coaching as cheap as $83 a month. And I say if you won't spend $83 on yourself, you're your greatest asset right now. And so this allows you to get the coaching you need at a very cost-effective way for you to go out there and be the person you were supposed to be. Who's coaching you matters. That's where your
Yeah.
tremendous advantage can come from. And so that's the Total Growth Academy we released to the world probably about a month ago. And we've got 25, 30 people already in there getting coaching as we speak.
Yeah, I see you've got coach on calls, you've got live webinars, you even have accountability reports and downloads and a mobile app involved in this whole Total Growth Academy. How's
Yeah.
it been going so far?
Well, we tried to separate ourselves from all the other platforms. So we put a coach on
Yeah.
call button in there. If you're out there in the world and you need a coach, you need something, you need me to look at something, you hit that button, you see it comes straight to me and my team. We look at it and give you coaching. We do live webinars every single month for all the people in our platform. Today I was doing an accountability school for all of the new people in there so that they can get in there, excuse me, and spend time with me in a cycle so they can get coached up. So what we've tried to do is put our arms around you, build the accountability and coaching that you need to be successful in there. So it's not just an online platform where you're left out there in the world in isolation to figure it out. You get a lot of access to coaching, and it's up to you to take advantage of it, and all for $83 a month.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, I'm looking at all the different curriculum that you have. So you have a series called Monster Producer, a legendary creature that uses skill sets to dominate a market. Can you tell me a little bit about some of these? I see talent supply and person of interest. Tell me a little bit about these.
Basically, Monster Producer is our biggest coaching program. That is a program that meets once a month, every 30 days. There are about 72 to 73 people in it right now. They're either in it in person, where they come to the Greatness Factory and see it live with me. And there's a number of people out there all over the country. So any person that's interested in business growth, a lot of people in your business that are interested in business growth. How do I grow it? How do I scale it? I teach the selling systems. I teach all of our best content in Monster Producer, and that is part of the Total Growth Academy. Now, you get that, I think, at the $199 level, which gives you all of Monster Producer, everything in there, and it gives you access to watch me teach the class live. Person of Interest is from my best-selling book, Person of Interest, about how you become the go-to person. And then we've got different programming for different subsets. So talent supplies for a new person to sales. It has the 90-day sales manager in there. And so basically, the reason it's called the Total Growth Academy is most of these platforms are sales-based or management-based. I said I want something for every single person out there. There's some programming for every person out there, wherever they are in the world, and that's why we called it the Total Growth Academy.
Yeah. Like I'm seeing you've got crumbs, how not to give leftovers of energy to your family after work. I mean, that's who wouldn't want that? Because I mean, you sound like you have a lot of energy, but I can imagine that there are times when you might just not give your best to your family. But how do you do that? How do you keep the energy up for after hours, after work?
Well, crumbs has been a huge concept, and it's probably a book that I'm going to write once we get the new book out in March. Because here's the deal. If you exert a lot of energy, typically into strangers that you really don't even know in the day, at the end of the day, you have leftovers for your family, the people you love the most. And here's another big one. We give leftovers to God. We have drive-by devotionals, 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes here. I got 2 minutes for prayer. I got no time for quiet time. We give leftovers to God. We give everybody else their best effort. We give leftovers to our family, to our wife, to I have a 4-year-old daughter. I give leftovers to her. So one day I just said to myself, man, I don't want to give crumbs to the people I care about the most. I have got to save some good energy. There's got to be a way for me to exert all this positive energy in a day, but still have some left over for the people I love the most. And it has to do with energy preservation. It has to do with how you go to sleep, what you eat during the day. It has to go with how you pulse up and pulse down. It has to do with how you take mini breaks or mini retirements. But here's the deal. A lot of people, and I've been guilty of this one, exert so much energy into their clients, into the world, and then go home at night and want to sit on the couch. You don't have enough energy to play with your daughter. And my goal is 1 hour of high impact every night with my daughter. If she wants to play, if she wants to ride bikes, if she wants to run around the house, if she wants to play hide and seek, and if I can't do that, if I can't give her 1 good hour, then in my opinion, the day was a failure. Doesn't matter how much my business won that day, the day was a failure. That's one litmus test that I have.
I love it. So that's prioritizing, isn't it? It's making sure that you have enough energy for your most important people and the most important things that you would have for the day? Would you say that's,
Absolutely. And it
yeah.
starts by planning. You can see, you can't see right now because we're on podcast, but we're recording this. I have a monster producer planner that I created, and that planner maps out my day from start to finish. What time I wake up, what time I go to bed, what time I'm spending with my family, every appointment, every meeting, everything I'm doing for the day. That keeps me on track. And I got to remember at the top every day, no crumbs, no leftovers. I got to give good stuff to the people that care and support me the most.
Wow. Now, I grew up with the Franklin Planner. Is this similar to the Franklin Planner?
This is tied more to a selling system. I'm a huge, huge fan of Stephen Covey. That's actually who impacted me the most. From 18 to 25, if you read any of my books, you will see a deep, deep impact of Covey through my work. That's where a lot of the whole person theory comes from, the 7 habits, the principle-centered leadership. But what I noticed is there was no planner tied to a selling system. And so we created a customer generation system, and we teach that to a lot of people we work with. How do they generate customers? And then we created a planner to marry to that system. So the planner shows you the help list every day, the key targets, the high-value activities, the farm club, the top 25, the sales goals, and basically it helps you time block on one side, and then on the other side it's married to a selling system to help you grow and build your business.
So for a network marketer, like a lot of the people that listen to our podcast, this would make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. I think for anybody in network marketing, direct selling, I think the Monster Producer Coaching Program would be ideal. It's about business growth, selling systems, positioning, marketing, branding, expansion. And as part of that, they get a monster book that I wrote, Monster Producer, and they get the Monster Planner. And that's part of the whole monster growth. And it's you said it. I believe that a monster producer is a legendary creature that combines multiple skill sets to dominate a market. So they're not treading water. They're interested in quantum leaps. They're interested in major expansion, major growth in their business. And in Monster, you get the best of what we do.
I want to talk about one more thing that I see here in the Total Growth Academy. And I know we're jumping around, but I'm just introducing people to you. I'm hoping that I can have you on again at some point for some more specific things.
Sure.
But and by the way, if you ever have anything that you definitely like to talk about that's more specific and we can get more in depth, I absolutely would be open to that. But there was one thing I like here that I think is really important for a lot of our people. The $1 million follow-up, aggressive follow-up system to close more prospects faster. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, expand that a little bit?
Statistics tell us it takes 7 to 15 touches 80% of the time to convert a prospect to a client. But most people never go more than 1 or 2 touches. And here's the concept, is when you follow up with a person, there's a specific purpose of that follow-up. It is to rekindle the initial attraction in business chemistry that 2 people had, or attraction to a concept. And once a person leaves that initial meeting and they're on fire and they're interested, they go back to their life and you go back to your life. If there's no follow-up mechanism in place, 7 to 15 touches, in a way that gets people to rekindle that initial fire, then that sale is lost. It just goes out into the world. And so we teach a very aggressive 7-touch system. We use a concept called the Challenger Sale. And that's from a book called The Challenger Sale, is when we follow up with people, we challenge people. We push people. I may say we lose 10% of momentum every day we're not taking action. I may say you and I believe the same things. I've showed you what we do. I've showed you how we do it different. I've even showed you everybody we've done it for. What is stopping you from taking action? And people will give you excuses. They're not objections. They're just excuses. Well, I need to think about it. So I'd say, what specifically do you need to think about? Well, I need to talk to my wife about this or husband about it. Well, let's talk to them together. You're telling me if your wife was on board that you would sign up today. Is that right? And so I isolate the objection and I push people to a buying decision. Now, I don't do it in an aggressive or arrogant or rude way. I just say this. You were interested in this. There was an initial attraction to this. That's one reason you're here. Okay, all I'm doing is bringing you exactly what you asked for on a silver platter. Now, what is stopping you from taking action? If you're not ready to go, then tell me why. And when I get to touch number 7, I simply say, have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? Have you noticed how hard we've worked to get you engaged in this direct selling model? And that's because I see something in you don't even see in yourself. I see potential. I see this in you. And so when they give me fluff answers, I just challenge them back. And if they get to number 7 and they haven't bought, I say, you know what? There's 7 billion people on planet Earth. Some will, some won't. So what? Just don't come back and tell me later that you wish you'd have done this earlier. There's all kinds of things I do to challenge a person. So $1 Million Follow-Up teaches how we follow up with people to get them to a buying or decision faster.
Okay, that's fantastic. I love that. And that's all in the Total Growth Academy.
Yeah, and let me
That's
say
part
this.
of the
Let me say
program.
this one thing. People follow up. I watch how people follow up. They say, well, I was just thinking about you. Are you ready to take action? I had one person say, I woke up thinking about you today, and I was like, man, that's creepy. If that's all you got to do is think about me, you ain't got much going on. I hear people say, I'm just doing my due diligence, and these are not things that push people off the fence. What pushes them off the fence is an emotional decision. What pushes them off the fence is, I brought you what you wanted, now let's take action. What pushes them off the fence is you being an expert, saying, you got 3 missing structures here. We could help
Yeah.
you. In your business, when a person comes to me and says, look, I don't make enough money, I don't have this, until you're ready to take action, get involved, get in the meetings, go out there and try, share your explanation of services with people. You are satisfied with where you are. You are happy with how much money you're making. Because if you weren't really satisfied, you'd be more motivated than what you're doing. A person doesn't change unless they fear losing something they value. And so for me, I push people to a decision. And I say some will, some won't. So what? I just keep moving.
Some will, some won't. So what? That's
So
a
what?
good thing to put on your action board, your vision board, whatever it is that you look at, because that's a quote to remember. You've got to be able to move on if people aren't there. But sometimes you're just not asking the right questions. I like that. I'm a little, to be honest with you, I have been hesitant to be so bold as to say that I push people, because that's kind of bold,
Well,
don't you think?
Well, here's what I ask people. Do you believe in you and your product or not? And if you believe, I believe everybody on planet Earth needs a coach. That's at the core of my belief. So if I believe that, why would I have any hesitancy of pushing a person to have a coach? Because I know that a good coach can change your life. I know that a good coach will accelerate, will find and fill your missing structure. So because I believe in me and my product, I will push people and say, look, I believe this is what you need. Now, there is no such thing as rejection, in my opinion. So, they may not want exactly what you've got, but there will be a lot of people who want exactly what you got. And I tell people, I have a beautiful wife, and I tell people if she would have wanted a 6', 2-inch blonde hair stud, she wouldn't have wanted me, right? But she wanted a little 5'6" bald-headed, little ball of fire, And here's the deal: some people want this, and some people don't. There is no such thing as rejection. They may not want what you've got to offer, but let me tell you this: somebody out there is dying to have exactly what you've got, and so
More than one.
more than one,
More than one person.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. So I don't see anything as rejection. They just want something
Yeah.
different than what I've got. I don't take it personal. It's okay, because somebody's out there waiting for what I've got.
I love it. Do you believe in you and your product, or don't you? I love that you're putting people on the decision. You're even asking them to make a decision about whether they believe or not.
That's right.
Because then if you do, you're passionate enough to go further and really push through the fear to asking the real questions. I mean, the worst thing you can do is try to get around a question and never get to the real point of your call or your follow-up, isn't it?
Yeah, people do business with other people that believe the same things they do. I do believe people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so if you lead with what you believe, there's going to be some people that line up with that, have an affinity with that, and some people that don't. And that's okay. But you got to know what you believe, and you got to believe in you. The first sale you got to make every day is to your own self. And you've got to affirm and validate. I am a person of interest. People are counting on me to show up and deliver. My positive energy is going to be greater than any negative energy I'm going to face today. This is the first sale you got to make. That's the backstage sale to your own self.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. Well, Coach Burt, I'm going to finish up here with just 8 questions for you. Real quick lightning round questions, and then we're going to finish up. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and then I want to talk about how people can learn about the Total Growth Academy. First question is, what is the greatest lesson you have learned?
There's so many good ones. The greatest lesson I've learned is
Putting you on the spot.
is there is no failure. We fail forward. There is no such thing as failure. You're either in the game or you're sitting on the sideline watching the game.
Okay. I love it. Number 2, what are you learning now?
I'm learning a lot of things now. I'm learning about how to scale a business, which I've never done before. I was a high school basketball coach. I'm learning, how to try to build a Christian environment, a company. I'm learning how to deepen my faith. There's all kinds of things I'm learning right now.
Okay. How has failure shaped your life? You mentioned failure as the first answer. So how has it shaped your life?
I think it's just recalibration.
Hmm.
A good navigation system. When you miss the wrong turn, it just says recalibrating. The woman on there
Hmm.
doesn't scream at you. She doesn't condemn you. She just says, we're recalibrating. And I think sometimes in life we need to recalibrate.
I love it. What have you read that I should read?
The Blessed Life by Robert Morris.
Okay, I'm writing that down. What have you done that I should do?
Mm. Flown on a private airplane. I think everybody needs to do that. You'll never want to fly on Southwest again, but you need to do it.
That's right. I love it. No more peanuts.
That's right.
Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to young leaders from what you have learned and experienced, what would it be?
Go for the mentor versus the money. Go for the mentor
Ooh,
versus the money. Too many people come out of college now and they go for the money versus the mentor. The money will always follow. Money follows energy, it follows attention, it follows circulation, it follows activity. But too many people are unskilled because they don't go for the mentor. They go for the money. That will always show up later in life.
and they're impatient to get to the money and skip the mentoring,
That's right.
right? Learn
Who's
the hard way.
who is coaching you matters. You can have a tremendous advantage by going for the right mentor and getting the coaching you need early in life.
All right. Who do you know that I should know?
A lot of people that's out there right now that I think that I have been in circles with, that I've been pushing. I think Brad Lee's a cool guy who did Lightspeed, who did our big online platform. I think he's one of the big thinker out there in the world. I think you should know. Um,
Bradley.
Yeah, Brad Lee in Las Vegas.
Oh, Brad Lee.
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
Cool, interesting
All
guy.
right. I'll, if you don't mind, I'll ask for his contact info
Sure.
off air. And lastly, how can I add value to you?
You already have, man. Just one of the best ways that we can spread our message in the digital world, is through
Yep.
podcast. It's through this. We've filmed this today. We can push it out to the market. When I do Facebook Lives, we're getting thousands of people watching those. I mean, in a digital world, you can impact 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people in a second, 100,000 people just
Yeah.
through the power of digital media. So just thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, grateful to have you, Michael. Coach, tell me quickly how people can best get in touch with you and find you online.
CoachBurt.com, CoachBurt.com. I do have a podcast called Super Coach. You can type in Coach Micheal Burt in Google and find all the stuff that we're doing, but we're doing a lot of cool stuff. I believe everybody does need a coach in life, and if you're serious about playing at another level, breaking through your ceiling of complexity, if you're serious about busting through, then I think we would love to have a conversation with you about your potential and coaching you.
Fantastic. Coach Micheal Burt, thank you for spending time on the Courage Cast. I am full of energy. There's something about you, man, that really does fire you up. So I'm grateful for you. Thank you for taking so much time with me today.
Thank you, man. God hardwired you for offense, guys, not defense. So get out there and go.
All right. You bet. Thanks.
Thank you.